Truly, we are living in dark times, my friends. Social media censorship has been bad, but we've long said that these big tech platforms should function much like a phone company. That is, if I make a phone call to you or text you, I can say whatever I want, and these companies won't delete my messages or shut my call off. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, they should all function the same way. But now something truly dark is occurring. The Biden administration is pushing companies to censor vaccine misinformation in texts. This from timcast.com. Side note, this is the alpha version of the site, and you're getting a sneak preview. But this is really scary stuff. They're not going the good route, which would be ensuring the right of people to speak freely on social media platforms and to treat them like they are utilities. They're going the other way. The Biden administration and the DNC want phone companies to block misinformation, they say. Are we not allowed to have opinions? Who are these people to think they can take away our right to speech? And how is it that this is anywhere near a thought that someone in the government could have, considering we have a First Amendment? But this is what they do. Outsource the censorship to private companies. Now, I'll be honest. When I first saw this story, I thought, no, surely this is not correct, right? I thought Joe Biden was going to be sending text messages to people saying, here's where you can get your vaccine or things like that. I've received phone calls from Maryland, which is also pretty strange considering I don't live in Maryland and my phone isn't registered to Maryland. But how do they know that I am currently in Maryland? It's very, very strange. Long story, but it is weird. The only way I can assume they got my phone number is through geolocating it based on cell tower activity, which is insane and creepy. What is going on? Let me stress that point. I don't live in Maryland. I live in West Virginia. But we have a business operation based in Maryland. Personally, I don't own property in Maryland. I don't live in Maryland. My phone is not registered to Maryland. I don't know how they got my information in Maryland. I don't. Maybe there's some kind of public record or something. Maybe there is a shipping address was done or, I something like that. I have no idea. I'm not going to immediately just assume they're spying on my cell phone, but I find it particularly creepy. When I saw this story, I thought they were going to be sending us texts. And then, I saw this story on my own website, and I fact-checked it. And sure enough, it's true. Let me read some of the story from timcast.com. Check it out. Timcast.com writes, the Biden administration is reportedly pushing social media companies and SMS carriers to censor what they deem to be vaccine misinformation. Quote, Biden allied groups, including the Democratic National Committee, are also planning to engage fact checkers more aggressively and work with SMS carriers to dispel misinformation about vaccines that is sent over social media and text messages, Politico reported. The goal is to ensure that the people who may have had difficulty getting a vaccination because of issues like transportation see those barriers lessened or removed entirely. Politico's report comes that the Biden administration failed to meet its July 4th goal of 70% of adults receiving the COVID vaccine. White House spokesman Kevin Munoz said, we are steadfastly committed to keeping politics out of the effort to get every American vaccinated so that we can save lives and help our economy further recover. When we see deliberate efforts to spread misinformation, we view that as an impediment to the country's public health and will not shy away from calling that out. Politico cited criticism of the Biden administration's door-to-door vaccination strategy as some of the misinformation that will be combated. Politico wrote, over the past few weeks, criticism of the administration's door-to-door vaccination strategy has increasingly become a fixture on Fox News. In addition to being a top topic on conservative social media posts and over SMS messages to cell phone users. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki announced the door-to-door vaccination strategy last week and was later surprised people were concerned about her description of strike forces going into communities to get 12 to 18-year-olds vaccinated. Quote, we're continuing to press to reach it, and we will in the next couple of weeks for adults over the age of 18, Psaki said. But our work doesn't stop there. And we are going to continue to press to get 12 to 18-year-olds vaccinated, to continue to work with communities where there's lower vaccination rates. That's one of the reasons we initiated these strike forces to go into communities and work with them to determine what they need to take a localized, specific approach that works with elected officials in communities. All right. I didn't believe it. You know, I see the headline on my own site. I just did not believe it. Take a look at this from the Daily Caller. The DNC wants phone companies to police text messages for vaccine misinformation. You saw it right there, man. This has got me freaked out. More worried than I've been about the censorship in a long time. We have this tweet from Vince Cogliani's quoting Natasha Korecki. Korecki says, new, Biden world is taking a more aggressive approach to combat vaccine fear-mongering by conservative forces that include calling on SMS carriers to mete out false messages, urging social media platforms to fact check. You know, a lot of people like to criticize communist China. I'm one of them. But boy, is it a problem when your own country is actually going above and beyond. Now, don't get me wrong, communist China, much, much worse. Seriously bad. Check this out. One example SMS message cited by Politico was sent by conservative activist group Turning Point USA, in which co-founder Charlie Kirk falsely contends that Biden is sending goons door to door to make you take a COVID-19 vaccine. Sign the petition, No Medical Raids in America. Quote, when we see deliberate efforts to spread misinformation, we view that as an impediment to this country's public health. We get it. Well, they're not planning on sending people door to door to force you, to make you get the vaccine. What they were saying was sending people out to communities to go door to door to ask people and encourage them to get the vaccine. Perhaps the way they see it is there was this judge in Ohio, right? He actually sentenced people to be vaccinated. He asked them why they weren't vaccinated. And they said they didn't know. And he's like, okay, well, then within 30 days, get a vaccine. He said they needed some urgency because the only reason they didn't do it is because they were procrastinating. Bro, you're not a doctor. You are a judge. You don't know. These people need to go talk to a doctor who can tell them what's right for them. I know you guys hear me say it a lot, but I know a lot of people who have been advised to and advised not to get the vaccine. Really, it just comes down to when you go to a doctor, you talk to them. I ain't going to take responsibility for your medical choices. That's on you. You can read what you want to read. You can talk to doctors. You can get a second opinion. But I really don't think it has anything to do with me or the opinions of people on the internet. Nor does it have to do with the opinions of some door-to-door strike force, Dr. Fauci, or a judge. Because they don't know you. It's just mind-boggling because people have allergies, you know, and they'll come to your door and what? That's insane. Anyway, look, Charlie Kirk exaggerated in this post. I don't care. He has a First Amendment right to say what he wants to say. Just because he's wrong doesn't mean he's not allowed to speak his mind. Think about where we go then. These fact checkers, these liars, these people who manipulate in the media, they're going to be shutting down our phone calls, our text messages, and this is Joe Biden's America. I don't know how we push back against this. The Republicans aren't doing anything. The Republicans, they've known this for years. Well, Donald Trump's doing something. Yeah, of course, that's Trump. He's a fighter, populist, saying, I'm not going to let this happen. Is he going to win? Honestly, I don't think so. I really don't. Trump could have made these moves years ago when we saw this getting worse and worse and worse. He didn't. He's doing it now in 2021. These stories were breaking in 2016. Culture war is getting worse. Now, I will say one thing. I guess the supposed benefit to all this is, you know, people like to talk about accelerationists. These people who are like, let it happen faster and faster and want to encourage it to happen faster. I don't want it to happen at all, let alone faster. But I'll tell you this, at the very least, the left has become so brazen in their psychopathic authoritarianism. It's going to start freaking people out. What happens? When some regular person says, hey, I saw this article, what do you think? And texts it to a friend and it goes, your text has been blocked for posting misinformation. Text message to somebody? Then they're going to be like, what? Yo, I tried to text you. It didn't go through. Yeah. Now, Facebook already does this. And that's what's scary, too, because a lot of people have replaced their text messaging with Facebook Messenger. And there have been a few stories I've tried sending to people and Facebook blocked it. Yep. There was what was it? There was a story about something. I can't remember what it was. And I was arguing with someone and I tried sending it to them and Facebook blocked the link, which was hilarious because it was a legitimate news story. There are names you can't say on social media. We are on, well, you know, I was going to say we're on the precipice, but I've said that so many times and it's only gotten worse. So we're just like Homer jumping the Springfield Gorge, just tumbling down, boof, 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 making our way to the bottom. Check this out. From the New York Post. Majority of Americans censor themselves, with 59% saying it's out of control. Study. Roughly 2/3 of Americans say they routinely or sometimes censor themselves in conversation, according to a new study. 59% of those asked deemed current levels of censorship in the U.S. to be out of control and unacceptable, according to market research firm Invisibly, which is backed by Peter Thiel's Founders Fund. Most respondents, 91%, said they had a negative view of censorship. Quote, people feel like they are being censored left and right, but most people don't want that to happen. Invisibly executive Don Vaughn told the Post, most people are not speaking out, but they certainly don't like it. The study was co-produced with the marketing agency Brado. What can we do? Look, I can't pretend to have all the answers, but I can show you that Texas is trying. Unfortunately, as Texas seeks to pass the social media censorship bill, which will give people the right to sue big tech, like we saw in Florida, it's being pushed back upon by Democrats. In Florida, a federal judge said, nah, you can't do this. Sorry, bye-bye. The federal government is protecting massive oligopolies, these massive corporations. And the Democrats are going to now phone carriers saying, shut down their texts. It is getting worse every single day. I hope 2022 Republican sweep. But I don't think the Republicans are going to do anything because the established Republicans are speed bumps for Democrats. They'll win. And when they do, all that is a pressure release valve. Look what we had with Republicans in 2016. Trump wins, Republican wins. They did nothing. They actually helped the Democrats in their stupid Russia crap. Then what happens? Democrats win the House. Republicans go, oh, no, now we can't do anything. Sorry, walk away. Here's what it is. The Republican Party is the establishment pressure release valve. That's it. When the Republicans win in 2022, assuming they do, nothing will happen. They will sit there. People will feel satisfied. Aha, we've won back, but they will do nothing. And the Democrats will laugh as they keep pushing and pushing and pushing and beating and beating and beating. And then 2024 comes. We'll see what happens. Trump is the only one who's actually done things, and they hated it. Because the Republicans exist so that when people get frustrated with the Democrats' leftward lurch and authoritarianism, they say, enough, we're going to vote for Republicans now. And then they do. And then the Republicans do a whole lot of nothing. Granted, Trump did different things. But then with that whole lot of nothing and nothing changes, people then say, I guess we'll vote Democrat again. And it's back and forth. Nothing getting done. The Republicans don't want to do things. They're not supposed to do things. They are just sitting around. You know what I love about all of this? Is this idea. People, I can't remember who tweeted this. They said something like both the left and the right in the culture war view the other side as not playing by the rules, bending all the rules to get what they want, blah, 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 blah. People on the left genuinely believe Republicans are evil and cheating and stealing and all this stuff, but they can't ever get anything done. It's amazing how during the Republican control of the federal government, they still said, okay, Democrats, we'll do whatever you want. The Democrats came out and lied about Russiagate. They lied to the American people over and over again. And then we found out that people like Schiff and these other people behind closed doors testified they had no evidence that Donald Trump did anything untoward with Russia. But they told the American people the lies. And then the left is like, it's the Republicans who are bad. The Republicans actually helped the Democrats during all of that. And what do they do to defend Trump? Sure, Trump didn't get acquitted in his 2-time impeachments. But you know what? They don't do anything. And now here's what we can see. You may have seen the story I posted earlier about the Democrats fleeing Texas because of the voting bill that Republicans are trying to pass. The voting bill Republicans are trying to pass, all it does is curtail a little bit of the expanded voting operation and the reduction in security. It doesn't even bring it back to where it was supposed to be, where it was before. It's still giving Democrats a victory. That's not the only thing that Democrats are obstructing. Texas lawmakers set to push back on social media censorship during special session. This is from KXXV. After a failed attempt to send a social media censorship bill to the governor's desk, Texas GOP lawmakers get another shot this month during the special session. But many experts expect it not to hold up in a court of law. What the governor would like to see happen is that social media companies can be held accountable. Brandon Rodingos, a political science professor at the University of Houston, said, if it's the case they ban a particular member of the legislature or a politician from social media, Senate Bill 12 failed to make it onto the House floor vote, despite passing the Senate on April 1st. The bill would ban social media sites like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, to name a few, from censoring content from Texans based on their online viewpoints. Governor Greg Abbott said in a press release Tuesday, the law will also provide a legal remedy for those wrongfully excluded from a platform. Experts like Rodingos see Texas Republicans wading into constitutional conflict by forcing government compliance on privately held companies. It's called regulation. The phone companies had it. The airlines had it. Yeah. Lies. Quote, this is a challenging way to approach the First Amendment. It's unlikely this will survive a kind of court-based legal scrutiny because typically it's the case that these actions are taken under the guise of the First Amendment. So when I call my mom on the phone, it's not actually my speech. It's the speech of the phone company. Is that what you're saying? Yes. All right, let's play a game. The next time someone says something insightful or criminal over the phone, we'll just say the phone company's the one who actually said it. I mean, let's be technical. The phone is the one that sent the sound out. So at the very least, they're as responsible, right? Is it the game we're supposed to be playing here? It's a First Amendment violation to make these companies say these things. They're not. They're not saying them. They're just neutral networks that transmit data from someone else. They want their cake and they want to eat it too. They say similar laws in other states against tech giants regulating free speech have not made it far from the state legislature. In fact, a federal judge blocked a Florida law limiting content moderation last week. Texas GOP lawmakers could face the same situation soon if they gather enough votes during the special session. But Rodingos said the governor and state Republicans are trying to make a point. It's a messaging bill as much as anything, Rodingos said. Ultimately, it's a really difficult bill to pass and to have enacted into law. So what happens? Okay. Republicans will keep getting banned. They'll keep getting purged. And this is it. The left won. I know. Let me explain. What happens is the people who fight, the Republicans who challenge the system, they get ripped away. They are not allowed to speak so long as these despotic psychopaths like Jack Dorsey control big tech. They will not allow anyone who would actually challenge their power. They would not allow them to speak. So what do you get? The Republicans you see on Twitter are the clipped wing milquetoast fence sitters who are like, well, now hold on there. Let's have a conversation. There's a few of them that fight. But for the most part, pressure release valve. Now, I can name a few people who do fight. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, as I've mentioned, she's a fighter for sure. Laura Loomer got banned across the board. I don't personally agree with their opinions, but look at what they do. Anybody who is willing to stand up and be bold and be energetic and let's be honest, effective in a lot of ways. You don't got to like Laura's opinions to recognize she knows how to get them out. She ran for office and they still would not give her a platform. This has to be illegal. They're giving preferential promoted treatment. During one of the Senate hearings, the congressional hearings, someone pointed out that when you log onto Twitter in DC, it gives you a bunch of Democrats as recommendations. Okay. No wonder these blue areas will stay blue because you have evil people like Jack Dorsey. Dude, legit evil. I'm not even kidding. Now, he said before, we're not going to ban everyone because then the platform will just become people I don't like or disagree with. That's literally what he's done. It's funny that he can admit it. The policies they have on like misgendering and all that stuff where they've literally banned people. There have been people who have broken no rules getting banned. And Jack Dorsey knows it because I've said this to him and he doesn't care. He just wants to be like, well, look, you've got left wing and right wing. Let's hobble the right wing so only center right moderates can run. And then they'll never stand up to the left. And you wonder why your Republican Party is so pathetic, frail, and milquetoast. Those are the ones who are allowed to speak on social media. They're ineffective, they can't win, and they lose. Now, I don't care about the Republican Party all that much because I think they've mostly just been pathetic in general. But this is a big problem of authoritarianism. What the Biden administration needs to be called out and blocked immediately because this guy is a psychopath. But I'll tell you, man, people want power and they'll do anything to get it. They want everyone to force and to comply and do as they're told. You got a problem with someone because they're dumb, let them be dumb. If you got an issue with someone not following the CDC, let them be dumb. You need to recognize your personal responsibility. But what happens when you get a large political faction, 81 million votes, from people who don't believe in their own personal responsibility? They believe you should be responsible for them. Dark times. Dark times ahead. You know, when I don't have food, you know what I do? I go find some. These people on the left, when they don't have food, they say the government should give me food. In fact, they should give me some of yours. Now, I can recognize a lot of problems with our system. A lot of food goes to waste, that's for sure. You can sit there and complain and scream and cry and demand the world change for you, or you can go out and grow some of your own vegetables and go find some food on your own. It's about personal responsibility. Take some responsibility for yourself, your kids, your work, your health. People don't do it anymore. This is messed up stuff, man. What the Biden administration is doing here, not okay. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.